Hello and happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's new episode of Breakfast with Boom. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL, and we are going to be covering the state of play that happened yesterday. I got three games that I like. I got one that I think is going to bomb so bad that it's not even going to be funny. We're going to get into it. Again, this is going to be a conversation about us versus them, and I don't mean like us as a community versus them. I mean PlayStation versus Xbox, because it does really seem, if you take just a step back and look at the last 2 years with PlayStation, they have taken on the role of Xbox back in the days where people used to point and make fun. They have not delivered on first party. They have not delivered on any of their promises. They consistently are upping the ante when it comes to price, almost on everything. And they get no pushback from the gaming media or the community. Well, yesterday was supposed to be the start of the showcase season for gaming. And it started off with PlayStation, and man, oh man, that was not what PlayStation gamers were waiting for. As a matter of fact, even the most die-hard PlayStation guys and gals, no names here, folks, were having meltdowns live on the air to the point of I'm almost embarrassed for them. We're going to get into that. And also, on the back end of the conversation, this showcase comes on the heels of the Herman Holst business update, where they basically admitted they're going to withhold content to try and drive sales of a PS5 from the PC community, who are rocking 4090s and all the bells and whistles you could want. As a matter of fact, even some of the gaming media took pop shots at them, which I was very surprised. Paul Tassi called them to task, as well as Tom Warren calling them to the carpet. It was really spicy. And look, there's no excuses being made here. It was a terrible showcase. As a matter of fact, one of the games that I liked was another poor showing. That was Silent Hill 2. If again, I mean, if we're going to talk about character models, which the gaming media and the gaming community consistently have talked about Hellblade 2's models being, I don't know what's wrong with them, because I did a Twitter, a side by side. That Silent Hill character models, they did not look good. And that was not a real good showing. Again, I like Bloober Team. I like their games, but that was a really, really not so good show for them. We're going to get into all of it. Let's welcome in everyone here. Silent Cypher. Brother, I first want to say thank you. Today is it's a heavy day for you for a lot of reasons, personal reasons. Now, if you want to talk about it, we're here. We're brothers, we're family. I want to thank you for being here, because today is a heavy day. I understand it, because I lost my mom as well. And every time I've worked on her day, it's I could feel it. So I love you. Thank you so much for being here, brother. Good morning.
Good morning and thank you. Yeah, actually, yesterday was her birthday,
Oh,
and
okay. Okay.
and so it actually made it easier because Sony gave me a hilarious showcase to ease my spirits. But no, I'm super happy to be hanging out with you guys. And yeah, she passed. It was a long battle with dementia and Alzheimer's, so it was one of those things where it's like we knew it was coming. It just
Never easy though.
it still sucks no
Yep.
matter what, like no
100%.
matter when it happens. But she's at peace now, and the
Yes.
rest of us can, continue moving on. The rest of us kids can continue on with our families without having to worry about our mom being stuck in a facility somewhere. So
Yeah.
it's better all around. But yeah, it's good to see you guys. And yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about this stuff because, man, talk about shit in the bed. It's quite
Yeah.
an experience today.
Well, again, I'll say that this is supposed to be the kickoff for the summer season
I sure
for
hope
game
not.
reveals, and they just didn't deliver. Crispy Bomb. The salty truth is on the way. You're going to deliver it. Good morning, kind sir. How you feeling? Welcome back.
PlayStation's State of PC. How we doing today? Yeah, dude. I don't know. We're gonna get into it. Obviously, this is the main topic. But all I gotta say is, when Astrobot is your best game, you might have a problem, because I got receipts, and y'all love those realistic, story-driven narrative games, and you got none.
None. They got, well, I mean, they're gonna have, God of War on PC. I mean, for PC players, that's great. Honestly, that's great. Horizon Zero Dawn is getting remade. I keep hearing that that's going to show up at Keighley Showcase. That's not a surprise. If that does, that's a fail. That's an epic fail, because it's another remake. You got the horror game remake for the PlayStation 5. Now, don't get me wrong. It's an amazing game. Best looking PS4 game to date. No questions asked. I beat that game, and I missed the perfect score by one person that died at the end. I was so freaking mad. Until Dawn, of course, I'm talking about. I'm not buying that at full boat. If there's an upgrade path for it, because I own it digitally, and it's $10, I will upgrade it for sure, because I will play through that game. The game is great. I am not buying that game at full boat. But again, just not really a great look. Fuzzy Belvedere. Again, we keep hearing about, Xbox is dying. They're getting out of the business. I've actually seen the for sale sign myself. It's ready. They're going to stick it in front of Microsoft in Seattle. It's only a matter of days from now. What's going on, brother? How you feeling?
Glad to be here with you guys this morning, man. Yesterday was a bit of a disappointment, but we'll definitely get into it. But I thought single player games weren't coming to the PC day and date. I guess that was only for first party until the goalposts move again, I guess. But
yes,
we'll definitely get into that. But man, it's definitely ramping up for the June showcase. Looking forward to that. And also looking forward to these predictions of a separate secret second showcase, possibly in September.
Try to say that 10 times quick. Forget about it. Tongue time for sure. Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's funny, Korkenstein, the secret showcase that we've been waiting for I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years now, is supposedly happening in September, thanks to WCCF Tech from an insider. Man, those insiders, if they got $1 for every time they got it wrong, they'd be able to retire, because damn, they get it wrong more often than not. And hashtag all they do is lie. How you feeling, Korkenstein? PlayStation community in up in arms, as they should be. Some defending this, saying it was a good show. I say take my glasses over your, and put them on top of their own to see it correctly. Good morning. How you feeling?
They could take my glasses and probably silence as well and put it over their own. And I don't know if they'll still see it. I'm doing good this morning. I mean, that showcase. I'm still trying to collect a lot of thoughts about it. It was, like you said, state of disappointment, and I can't wait to jump in and talk more about it.
Yeah, me as well. Now, real quick, folks, before we get into the main topic, of course, it's going to be the state of disappointment. I want to do 2 things. One, I want to share something with you, with the community. And I'm very proud of this. I'm very excited for this, because when you start your YouTube channel, you never really think it's going to turn into like a small business. And we have. That's what happened with Double Barrel Gaming. We're going on 6 years in November. And we do occasionally get people that want to work with the channel, which is, trust me when I tell you, when they come knocking, it's a bit of, skin pinching, because you're like, what did we do to deserve this? And apparently we've done enough that we have gotten the eye of the Volari gaming pillow, which of course I'm going to run a quick ad in a second, but that's not what I want to share with the community. I want to share something that I am blown away by, because when you start to brand your channel and your persona, you can do it, and it's you're doing it for yourself. You're like, hey, okay, I see it. Your wife sees it, your husband sees it, your girlfriend, whoever, and you get the opinions from there. It's when a company does something and you're like, oh shit, it is now real. I want to share the design. Now, this is just a mock-up for right now. We might add the Captain Boomstick on one of the corners. This is the double barrel gaming Volare pillow that is going to be up for sale. It's like I said, this is just the artwork. I am completely blown away by this. I couldn't believe it when they showed me the concept art. I was like, oh my God, it's real. Like, I can't believe it. And to match this, we are doing with Ben Kenobi, who of course is the who's obviously the showrunner for the Xbox fan art. We're doing a double barrel gaming coin, like the Xbox coins. We're doing one of those for double barrel gaming. I don't have any concept art for that, but that's that I just wanted to share that because that's kind of a big deal. I mean, we're still so small as a channel, and to have that happen is just crazy. So real quick, while I got your attention about the Volare gaming pillow, I mean, I'm going to run the ad. It is what is it, 35 seconds. It's not long. Again, it's one of the few people that we are working with. We get offers all the time. We're not going to sell you a product unless we're using it. I use the Volare gaming pillow all the time. And for someone with back problems like I have, it helps. So please check it out. And we'll give you the code at the end of the ad so that when the double barrel gaming pillow goes up, and I'll let everyone know when that happens, you'll be able to knock off 15% off of your total order. Check it out. And there you go, folks. All you got to do is put the code in DBG15 at checkout, and you will save 15% off of your total order. Thank you for taking 35 seconds of your day to check it out. We definitely appreciate it. Crispy Bomb, let's get into this showcase. State of disappointment as it was. I think personally, the biggest disappointment of this is Concord. I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't even understand what the hell I was seeing. And you know what's even more odd is that on the back end of this state of disappointment, they had the Marvel game, which looks killer. How do you have... I don't know what I was expecting, because I know that they were really focused on that jiggly hamburger the first time we saw this thing. And then we got Concord, which is a 1-to-1 ripoff of Overwatch 2. And you know what Overwatch 2 has over it? Characters that you actually give a shit about, because those characters were freaking terrible. I'm going to tell you this right now. When this game comes out, it is going to flop like soap stars. I mean, foam stars. I keep calling it soap stars. Foam stars. It's going to come and go. It's going to be a game. This is what drives me crazy as a PlayStation owner. How do we get here and get Concord and we don't have, I don't know, a SOCOM or a Twisted Metal? Oh, that's right, because they canceled those two particular games. I don't know what's happening. Let's talk about the state of disappointment.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, and this is going to be a funny take, but Concord reminded me of the first time I saw Bleeding Edge.
You know, that's freaking fantastic 1-to-1, bro. Yeah.
Because they went all cinematic, just like they did. Okay. Like it was like, what, 7 minutes of like cinematic. And then they went into the gameplay and I'm like, bro, you guys playing Halo 3? What's going on here, dude? Like, dude, and I'm not talking MCC Halo 3. I'm talking 360 old school Halo 3. Okay, like I'm like, what is going on here? I mean, if we're going to stay straight on this topic, I feel bad for that studio. What, it's Firewalk? I mean, they actually make good narrative games, I believe. I think my girl played one of them. I'm very confused on their thought process for doing this. I think at the end of the day, I mean, this could do decently on PC because it did, like when you saw some of the gameplay, you're like, okay. The problem I have is that, all the things said earlier, Herman Hulst just went back on everything. I mean, seriously, how many of these games are coming out for PC? I mean, what are we actually talking about here? Okay. You look at what they provided and it's a nothing burger. I mean, if anything, it's an insult to the fans themselves who have been screaming at the top of their lungs that we have the bangers. This is not banger territory at all. If anything, like for me, being a gamer that says, you know what, I know people will enjoy things like Astrobot. That actually looked really good for a platform.
Dude, I am buying that day and freaking date. I loved that's what saved the show from a 2 or 3. King David gave it a 3. For me, it's a 5, but it's only a 5 because of Astrobot. Great point.
Yeah, I mean, but this is where Xbox people and PlayStation people have this divide. Now we can call you out because you've trashed the games that we've actually said, hey, this is good. And by the way, I never said I was going to play Bleeding Edge. And we can go back to when that was, that's how long I've been podcasting, people. You can find it somewhere and on some show that I said it's not for me, which is fine. Okay. But I also didn't trash it. Y'all trash everything, but now you have everything that we had. So we're watching you like, hey, like, it's okay. Like, I know some PlayStation brothers that are gamers that said, hey, this is a 6 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10 for me. I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. When people are saying 90, I'm like, okay, like let's hold back real quick. Now, if there's some magical showcase, maybe that's the reason why they held back. We haven't seen it, okay? Because the magical showcase, every time they put showcase there, it ain't much better than this. Now, was it substantially better? Like I probably gave it a 7 or an 8. Okay, but we're talking a 5 for me. And that's because you spent like 10 to 12 minutes on Concord, and we want gameplay, and Xbox has been providing it, hate it or love it. Okay, you got more gameplay than cinematics. This is like reverting back to when we were talking trash about Xbox ourselves, because we are Xbox gamers and we don't want to see that. And on top of that, Silent Hill, what was that? Like, I get that. I mean, Medium looks way better than that. Now, maybe that's not the case when the game comes out, but as of right now, that does not look good. Okay? It doesn't look good at all. I don't see anybody hyped for it. And if they are hyped for it, they are lying to themselves. Because we never said Medium was going to be the greatest thing in the world. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you take out some of the gameplay elements that had to have, syncing up of multiple different realms at a certain point in time, the game might have looked better. I don't know what that is, because it's supposed to be, what it is, and you're supposed to make it look better, and it still kind of looks the same. So what are we talking about? I'm so confused on their thought process for this entire showcase. I don't understand it. You say state of play, but all we see is state of plays lately. I mean, seriously. So what is it? Is it a showcase? Is it a state of play? I mean, if you guys want to take a W, you could say, oh, there was a secret showcase. Here you go. It's a state of play. You're not Nintendo, Sony. You're not. You're supposed to be this pillar of greatness, right? Where are we at? What are we doing? All right. And I think finally some PlayStation fans that I would interject with are finally saying, this ain't it, bro. And I respect them for that, because I've done that with Xbox many times. So,
oh no, we've called them to the carpet many times, brother. When they deserve it, we're the first ones there banging the drum. I do not shy away from giving criticism to Xbox, especially when they F up. Sorry, I'm just not going to do that.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, like, look, you choose what you choose. The only thing I'll say is that all Xbox did was say, okay, confirmed Call of Duty and Game Pass. That's going to start moving units. I don't care. You could be the loudest PlayStation fan in the world. You play all PlayStation games. I'm going to tell you right now, that casual don't give a crap. He's going to see a next-gen console at this, and he might be on a PS4, because we already seen those numbers. You got to – this is not going to sell somebody on a PS5. And that includes me, and I guarantee it includes that somebody that's playing on a PlayStation 4, because it's a lot more than I actually even thought. So just think about that.
It's a great point. Again, this is one of those things that makes you scratch your head. Again, if we're going based on the information that's been provided for us as consumers, you look at the business meeting where they said day and date for service games, which obviously makes sense, and I think that decision was easy based on the success of Helldivers 2. Regardless of whether or not Helldivers 2 continues to be supported mostly by PC, that's irrelevant. They're still making money, and they're making money on PC and on PS5. That decision was very easy. It's the weird part of it is not seeing first party stuff go over and them use the excuse, and I mean them, meaning Herman Holtz saying at that business update that, hey, we are going to try and entice PC players to go buy a PS5. That to me is a terrible idea. We're going to get to that on the back end. I think that's a really important aspect of the conversation. Silent Cypher, I want to go to you, but before I get there, I got to catch up on some super chats here. J Mac drops the very first super chat of the day of $5, and he says, that was a subpar appetizer. Now we're ready for the full entree. June 9th, Xbox World Order fully operational. Salute, gentlemen. Salute to you as well, my brother. And yes, June 9th is going to be a megaton. Whole grain bread drops a very generous $2 super chat and says Concord looked like shit. And he didn't say it, but I said it. So there you go. Adidas 20 State of Depression. Oh my God. He drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, going to Vegas next month. Send me your PS5s. I will toss them over the Hoover Dam and have a shot of ginger ale. Yeah, shot of ginger ale. Yes, no shot of mustard because C-Money is not here. If he's listening, he's probably laughing. James Gibson drops a very generous $5 super chat. And good morning, James. Thank you for the generosity. He says, it's a shame when you train gamers to care about one type of game exclusive. It only hurts all of the other games. I don't care for exclusives, and I'm an Xbox main. I mean, I'll tell you this, James. I love Sony's exclusives because I am a selfish kind of a gamer like that. I like the stories that they tell. I like the characters. One of my favorites is Nathan Drake. I'm saddened that I don't think we're ever going to get a sequel. I just don't think we're ever going to get it. So I replayed them often, and I wish that we would get some more. I mean, again, the end of 4 was wide open. If you wanted to bring the daughter and make her a main, would be great. But we're never going to get it. So that sucks. Jax82 drops a very generous $5 super chat. And Jack says, this is the last PlayStation I buy for a while. Enough is enough. Why they keep doing at least I have a PlayStation, or I guess he meant to say, why do they keep doing this? At least I have a PlayStation Plus and a backlog of games to keep me busy. Yeah, I mean, I think what you're going to see is, and I was talking about this with Everborn and Kayasante this morning. I think you're going to see the one first party title per year, and the rest is all going to be gas games. They're going to keep trying to get wins out of gas until they piss off the community and they just walk away. I think you're going to see a tremendous amount of shift when a Call of Duty goes into Xbox Game Pass. It is going to move mountains. How much we'll know by the end of the year, but I think it's going to move mountains. See, Scott Woodford drops a very generous $2 super chat and says PlayStation is in trouble. No PS6. Yeah, I know King Dave's been saying that for quite some time, but Sound Cypher, let's talk about it. I mean, again, the floor is open. State of disappointment. 30 minutes, 14 games. They bookended with Concord to open. Astrobot to close. Astrobot looked amazing. It's day one for me. I'm a platform guy, as everyone knows. I love that character. I platinum the one that launched as a pack-in for the PS5. I will platinum this as well. This looks so much fun. But that's about the only thing I walked away with that interests me. What about you, man? What are your thoughts on the show and Sony's very poor showing?
God, well, I'll tell you, just to start it off, first, I had a lot of fanboys online that were coming at me saying there's no way they're going to talk about anything PC during this show. Okay, that's not going to happen. That's not where this goes. They don't care about PC. They're going to release it on PC so they can make the money, but they don't care about the PC side. That's not their focus. I would like to direct everyone's attention to the slides we've seen over the last like 6 to 8 hours that show the list of all of them being PC or multiplat. Like it's absurd. And it's like, it's one of those things where we just had that business meeting where they said, oh, well, our focus is to try and pull people from PC over to the console. Well, given the lackluster showcase that you just gave us, along with the fact that most of that stuff could be on PC anyways, why would we waste our time with your PS5? Honestly, like it just being completely straightforward with it, there's no reason that you have convinced us to come over to your ecosystem. Along with the fact that you're still pushing your PSN crap on the PC version, causing people to not have access to your game in 170 plus regions.
It's 180 because it was 177 and they added 3 on the back end that could not play that don't have access to PSN. Yeah. So currently it's 180 regions that can't get these games on PC. Ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's a good job. You played yourself on that one. I really look forward to seeing the numbers on how you're going to advance forward if you can't sell games to most of the regions. That's going to be an experience on its own. As far as the actual showcase goes, I think yesterday when we did it, I think I gave it a 6. I feel like that was generous. I feel like that was because Astrobot was the main thing that even showed anything that I was really excited about. Like when I saw that, I was like, okay, I wasn't really interested in Astrobot previously, but when I saw that trailer, it's got so much that it pulls from. Like I saw a bunch of Star Fox in there. I saw a lot of Mario mechanics. Like they're doing a really good platformer, it looks like. And I wouldn't have figured that was the game that I was interested in watching. But that trailer was the thing that stood out to me for the whole showcase, which surprised me. I figured it would have been other games. Go figure, it was the platformer. That's going to be a $70 title. But that being said, Nintendo does that every other year, and everyone always buys it all the time at 60.
You're saying that the Astrobot's gonna be $70?
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah, I don't see any world where it's cheaper.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought for me it might be a $50 title, but you know what? Look, I'm not gonna apologize for buying that game for $70. I love platformers. Yeah,
no, so and that's the thing. That's the thing, right? Is like if you make a good platformer, cool. Like if it's got good content, if it's worth the $70, then cool. Like I have no problem with that. I kind of figured it was going to be a smaller thing until I saw the trailer. And I was like, okay, this is kind of bigger scope than I expected. It's not like the freebie pack in that you got with the system. Concord. Concord is one that boggles my mind. First off, I miss the burger. I miss the jiggly burger. I wish that could come back because the crap we saw yesterday was not it. That looked like the dollar store version of Guardians of the Galaxy meets Overwatch. And it just looks like a boring, generic hero shooter. I'm sorry, maybe it'll gain traction, but from what I saw yesterday, that thing's going to get shelved immediately. Overwatch already has a hard enough time with player retention as it is, and it's not. It's at least got a little personality. I feel like this is too generic to even have much of a player base after probably 6 months. God of War Ragnarok coming to PC. That's cool. Hopefully I'll be able to get a mod so I can replace Atreus so I actually have a likable character when I'm playing the game. That would be awesome. I'd be very stoked about that. Cool to see that Until Dawn is coming to PC. I will finally play it. I wasn't going to buy the hardware for that back then.
Phenomenal game, so underrated.
Well, I've
More
heard.
people should have played it. What if you are a horror guy?
Mhm.
Honestly, I think that is, again, if you like the dark pictures, and if you're a fan of that, because this is what really started it out for that developer. It is
Right.
tip of the spear. I absolutely loved every second I played of Until Dawn. That is exciting. Again, I hope there's an upgrade path because I'd like to get all the trophies again. And if it's $10, then I'll do it. Because normally I don't do that. For Until Dawn, I will definitely do that.
Yeah, it looks just like The Quarry, which I just finished about a month ago, I think it was. And I really enjoyed that. And I've always enjoyed those dark pictures games. So if it's in that same vein, I'm all for it. I'll give it a shot for sure. Besides that, dude, I find it laughable that we're still pushing VR when you've stopped the production of your VR headsets. I guess you got to put something out there for people to chew on while it dies slowly. But that Skydance's Behemoth actually looked good visually and stuff. Like that one actually looked interesting. We saw that Alien game, Rogue Incursion.
Looks dope, dude.
It does.
And you know what? It's also coming to MetaQuest 3. Yes.
Oh, is it really?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
So is
okay.
Batman Arkham, the new Arkham game, MetaQuest 3 as well. So I'm very
good.
excited. Now I don't have to buy a
So
PSVR 2.0.
Another multi-plat. That's awesome. I'm excited for it, but man, I'll tell you, it saddened me so much when I saw it though, because all I want at this point is another game in the same vein as Alien Isolation. I want a good single player, non-VR version of an Alien game. And so when I saw this, I kind of got excited, but then I saw that VR logo stamped in the corner. I was like, damn it, I'm sorry. Like small experiences, like short run experiences and stuff like Beat Saber, things like that, I enjoy VR for. For long experiences and stuff, it's just not really, it's not my thing. I'm sure it'll probably do really well, especially as they're opening up their ecosystem for people to use those headsets on PC. The game will probably do really well as time goes on. But yeah, that kind of bummed me out a little bit. I was really hoping that we were going to see that thing as like a full-fledged game, not just a VR game. The other thing that hit me that seemed a little weird was Silent Hill 2. Now, Silent Hill 2, when we first saw that last year, that looked like doggy doo. Like that looked like a big old flaming pile of garbage. And it's just like, dude, the visuals on this are not good. If this is what you're trying to promote as a $70 game, you can just put it back on the shelf. They showed us again on this state of play, and the visuals were not great. And I was like, okay, what are we doing? They looked
a little foggy. Now again,
Yeah.
I don't know if that is for atmosphere because look, and I've said it before. I love horror. I love survival horror. Out of the entire Silent Hill series, 2 is my favorite. I want to buy this. I don't know if it's a day one buy because it was supposed to look better and it actually didn't.
So here's where I'm confused, and it kind of feels like this showcase was a little rushed. The state of play was,
Mhm.
because and maybe I'm wrong. I need to go back and I watched the footage, but the footage we saw in the state of play of Silent Hill 2 didn't look good. But then the showcase we had right after the state of play for Silent Hill 2 looked good. Like, the stuff I saw on that looked really good. There were a couple weird things where some of the textures, some of the characters and stuff didn't look great. A couple enemies where you looked at it and you're like, this looks very, the imagery looked very flat. The characters' faces looked very flat a couple times, but then there were moments where when I was watching it, like, they looked amazing. So it kind of makes me think maybe the game is not completely done with their polish phase, because there are some spots where when I'm watching, I'm like, okay, there's some issues a little bit. But overall, Silent Hill 2 actually looked really good. And I think they did disservice to it during the state of play, because I feel
Yeah.
like what they showed me there, I was like, it's not grabbing me. But then when we watched I think it was like a half-hour long showcase after that, it looked good. Like, they had a lot of good stuff there where I was like, okay, this I would buy on PC and I would give a shot in October when it comes out. So yeah, that's
Perfect
sorry, that was
October
very
game too.
long-winded, but yeah.
No, not at all. I mean, listen, I like the full breakdown. Obviously, this is one of those conversations where, we're here for 2 hours. There's no rush because I want everyone to get to drop their bars. And, this is not our way of picking on PlayStation, but I'm sorry. I mean, listen, you have to call a spade a spade. That was a terrible show. This was supposed to be the kickoff. And I'm sorry to say, ladies and gentlemen, if you're waiting and hoping for the September showcase, this is why I said these are roles reversed. How many times did we hear before Xbox got their stuff together? Wait until the next E3, and it was a running joke. It was a running meme, right? And you know what? They deserve those L's. They put themselves in. They put themselves on that pedestal because everything was like, well, we held something back. Well, we held a couple of games back. What are you holding stuff back for? Let the people let it all hang out. Slap it on the table. Let's see what you're working with, right? No, they're coy and they want no. Don't do that. So this situation is roles reversed. Xbox is about to slap the baloney on the table on June 9th, and people are gonna be like, "Yo, I ain't fucking with that guy." Pardon my French. But this is one of those situations where where's Sony? And what's amazing, Fuzzy Belvedere, is that there are literally no pushback whatsoever from the gaming media. If this was Xbox, I am sorry to say, ladies and gentlemen, this would have been breaking news across IGN and GameSpot and Kotaku about how they dumped on the bed, and that was not the case. Oh, it was okay. It was a 7. That was no 7, unless you looking with a crooked eye. That was not a 7 show. That was a 5. And what kept it a 5 for me is Astrobot, which I am buying day and date. Let's talk about it, Fuzzy. What are your thoughts?
Well, I tried to look at it from two different standpoints, and I gave it a 7. But let me explain. If you look at it just for games, and there's some key games in there that I'm looking forward to. One of them being Path of Exiles 2. Being a huge Diablo fan, that is the best competition, and that's what made Diablo 4 as good as it is, to have that competition. So having Path of Exiles come out, which by the way is multiplat and free to play, um, that was like one of the highlights for that showcase, as well as Monster Hunter Wilds, which I love. When Monster Hunter World, I think, was the one that came.
Yeah, but
to
that was the
Xbox.
one that before. Yeah,
And
there's a sequel to that.
unfortunately, I hopped on that train a little late, so most of my friends that were playing it had already moved on. But it's kind of a looter shooter, but you're hunting animals, so that's a cool concept. And after playing Dragon's Dogma, I look to see if they incorporate some of the monster mechanics from Dragon's Dogma into Monster Hunter Wilds.
And they
If
have.
they do,
Yes.
that's going to be another highlight. So there are some good games in there, but they're not exclusive to PlayStation. So that's why I give it a 7, just based on some of those games. But if we're looking at it as a reason why you would buy a PS5 if you don't already have one, like specifically if you're a PS4 owner, which there was a PS4 game in there, that Infinity Nikki or whatever, which also is coming to mobile, by the way. There really isn't that much incentive to buy a PS5 as opposed to buying a PC, which all but one game, well, two games, I'm sorry, because Infinity Nikki's not coming to PC, but you can play mobile games on your PC if you really, really, really want to. All of those games are going to PC. Astrobot is the only one, which I'm sorry, I'm not going to pay $70 for it. My guess is that's got to be the pack-in for the PS5 Pro. And it's funny, they didn't call it Astrobot 2 or Astrobot something else. Like Astrobot's Playroom that came free with the PS5.
Yes.
It was a good tech demo. It's the only dev that really put those DualSense feels to use. No other
Phenomenal
software
game,
out
dude.
there
Absolutely
to this day.
so good.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have Spider-Man. I have Horizon Forbidden West. Yeah, you feel it a little bit when you're pulling a bow, but it's like minimal, even when you turn all of the sensitivity up in comparison to Astrobot. But by the way, here's my complaint with that. The PS5 controller battery sucks.
It
and
does.
That's another thing that nobody ever talks about.
4 to 5 hours at best. Yep.
Yeah, I only get 4 now. And the problem I have with it is nobody talks about it. I have 2 controllers. I'm the only one in my household that wants to play the PS5. I have to have the other controller ready for when I do long stints of GT7. So nobody talks about how the battery sucks on that damn thing. But all of that aside, we're finally going to get another game that puts the DualSense to use. Is it a pack-in? Is it a freebie with PS Plus? We'll see. But
that's a good question. I didn't even think about that. That's a great take, dude. Like, you know what? It's probably gonna be a pack-in, which is not gonna entice me to buy a Pro. So I will just be like one of the knuckleheads to spend $70. It's fine. Like I said, I loved the first one. I know I'm gonna enjoy this.
Yeah. Now the other thing that I have a big question on. They didn't put the Destiny DLC in this, which I guess they released the trailer the day before. And I understand why. Why would you have that in there when you're going to highlight Concord, which you spent almost half of your showcase or state of play on? Which, okay, here's a few things I have a question on. One, is it free to play or are they going to charge for this thing? Because they have a free to play game that outshowed that game in its own showcase, and that was Marvel's Rivals. So is this already dead on arrival if it's not free to play? Or is it going to be part of
free
a
to play? There's no way they're going to try and charge. There's no way they're charging for Concord. Absolutely not. But then again, they are PlayStation.
Yeah.
At the end, pre-order.
And with it being PlayStation, here's the key thing.
Yeah.
This game, not this game in particular, but these games flopped on PS4 and PS5. Anybody remember Lawbreakers? Not too long ago. Nobody bought it. Well, I won't say nobody, but like 1,000 people bought it on PS4. Is this going to stay soft for the same fate?
Went against the grain.
I don't even think PC players are going to buy this for the fact that you would have to buy it. It's not unless they come out and say it's a free to play. But that's not my biggest gripe with the game. My biggest gripe with the game, if you look at the gameplay, all right, it's supposed to be like a hero shooter kind of thing. Anybody notice that the other team didn't have any tanks? Like it was very generic. Were they playing against bots? Like, is this a multiplayer where you co-op against bots, or is it going to be team versus team of real people? And then if that's the case, what were those other characters? Like, I guess there's supposed to be 16 or 18 characters or whatever. Why didn't they show a lot more of them off? Because the other team looked like crap. Like, why would you want to be anybody on that other team? It looked like 5 generic characters. What, the tank was the one in the blue trench coat? Like,
yeah, it looked bad. Creative Monster in the chat called it Concord Grape Jelly.
But that's the thing.
That's their eating.
and the big problem is this game got the green light after Bungie said no to factions and apparently no to the Marvel Spider-Man game, which
looked
the fans in us know that those games would probably do well. And this
how about Twisted Metal?
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, Bungie okayed this? Like, did Bungie okay this so they didn't have competition for Destiny or Marathon? Or was this just, some random, oh, this one gets the green light, but faction, nah, that's too, nah, that ain't it. Spider-Man, that ain't it. But this is it. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's a 5 as a PlayStation showcase at best, maybe a 4, because there's nothing. If I didn't already own my PS5, there was nothing here that appeals to buying one. If anything, this goes to show after Herman Hulse said no single player games are going to come to PC day and date. I guess he only meant first party ones, because Silent Hill 2 is coming to PC day and date.
Right.
Until Dawn, the remake, which is another remake in the year or the generation of remakes for this console. Another one's going to PC day
And
and
it's
date.
all gonna play better on PC. That's the best
Yes.
place to play all of them.
Yep.
Exactly. But they want you to buy the sequels on the PS5. Buy the hardware for it. Like, really? And
Good
I know
luck with that,
people
Charlie
always
Brown.
want to say, well, according to Steam charts, the 1080 is still the best. That's for people that want to participate. There's a few polls out there right now that show a lot more people have 30 series cards and above than probably 1080s that are actively gaming and would be buying these newer games. The people that still rock the 1080s are still the ones that are playing CSGO, because you don't care about the graphics. You just want a 200 frames and shooting somebody before they even round the corner kind of thing. That's what that's about. But I don't know. It just, this was a PC showcase, so State of PC is the better moniker for this. And they should have talked about PlayStation PC. Like, I guess there's still going to be a PSN sign in for God of War Ragnarok.
Yes. Yep.
And
Which is,
by the way,
again,
they get to pay less for it, get better graphics with widescreen support, better
Yes.
frames, better visuals, mod support, the DLC, all for less than what it was on console.
they want you
And
to
they don't have
spend
to pay for
$600 on a
online or
Pro.
nothing. So yeah, I don't know. It was weird to have Herman Hulse say no games coming day and date, but then some day and date games that just happen to not be first party. But I still hold out hope that maybe Ben Studios will be that first one of their single part. Well, then again, I think they said Ben might be doing a games as a service, so we'll see. Unfortunately, they can't do Days Gone 2, but whatever that is, that's definitely going to be day and date PC, and we'll see what other ones in a year or two come to PC day and date, because I think the big thing is that nobody's really looking at. Their first party studios aren't up to par to have simultaneous development for PC and console. That's coming. Nixus is only but so big of a team. What are they going to do? Split up the team and send their experts to each studio to get those PC ports ready?
Well, Bluepoint apparently is now a support studio. If you saw that from the graphic, Bluepoint which is they make great games. I don't understand. They've been sent to the salt mines, if you will. LeBurn98 says Concord isn't free to play. It said pre-order for beta access. Whoa.
So
you can ram that pre-order.
Yep.
I
That's
think
what I was saying earlier.
Just as bad, if not worse, than
Lawbreakers right now, brother. Yeah. Again, Fuzzy.
DOA.
Yeah, knocked it out of the park. I think you're onto something, Fuzzy. I think it is DOA. I think there are a lot of games here that Corkenstein, I want to bring you in, brother. And in front of me, shout out to Iman Burns, who sent me a graphic. Now this is making the rounds. I don't know who actually originally did it, but I have the 14 games listed here that that were at the show, and 13 of the 14 are coming to PC. One's coming. A couple of them are coming to MetaQuest as well as Xbox. The only exclusive, Corkenstein, on this entire list was Astrobot. Wow. I mean, it's funny, up into the showcase, we heard that, oh, well, I'm just going to watch the PlayStation showcase June 9th because everything is coming to Xbox. For everything on Xbox is coming to PlayStation. I don't think that's the case. As a matter of fact, Jez Corden had some words to talk about that. He said, yes, there's going to be some day and date drops. I think, you're talking about like Bethesda stuff is going to be like Doom is going to be day and date. Makes sense. The game is on PlayStation right now. I don't see why they would keep it off. It's just money for them. But certain things are just not. And if they do get there, there's going to be a gap. What are your thoughts on the rhetoric out here? Again, I don't really see a whole lot of pushback, especially from the gaming media. What what appears by everyone's takes a very mediocre at best, state of play. What are your thoughts, Korkenstein?
Yeah, I mean, the same. I mean, you guys saw the tweet I sent to you guys. I mean, basically the
Yes.
same outlets and people that are saying this is a great showcase or the best ever would also be the same exact ones trashing Xbox if they showed this. So it's just so silly that this is kind of happening and no one's really actually like, this is why Sony keeps thinking they can do stuff like this. Like Concord, no, that's who pre-orders a free to play game. So that's definitely going to be that's going to be a probably, I hope not full price. I would jump in maybe if it's like $30 and it comes with maybe the first battle pass free and some skins or something, but no, $70 it's going to be DOA. It's funny too because like they showed, like you guys brought up, they showed Marvel Rivals and the same exact showcase, and it just outshined what Concord had. It kind of looks like too, Concord was originally set up to be like a Guardians of the Galaxy kind of MOBA shooter, and they went to Marvel and they're like, hey, we got this great idea. And they're like, so funny story. We got Marvel Rivals coming out as well. And then now they're having to shift to make this, like generic looking characters that resemble a similar. But anyways, I mean, it's just, yeah, I can't see Concord taking off if it's going to be a full price game right off the bat, especially when there's so many free to plays like Overwatch 2. You have you have Overwatch 2, you have Warframe, you have all these free to play games. Valorant, you have Apex, you have Destiny, even Destiny 2. You have these games that people have invested thousands of hours into, and they're not gonna drop those games to pay $70 for a game that they could just play what they're already playing.
Corkenstein, so I got something for you. What about X Defiant that has exploded on the scene, right? Mm-hmm. How does this game go up against it? And you know what? Shout out to Hazardor Gaming. I got some more context for you, Korkenstein. Yeah. This is, again, I love numbers, folks. I love evidence-based conversation because, like I said, you can have your opinion, but you can't argue the numbers. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Again, shout out to Hazardor Gaming, who just posted this. He says this: it's like the audience clearly speaking what they like and what they don't like. Meanwhile, publisher and platforms stay obvious and ignore everything to chase a live service. Check out these numbers, gentlemen. So for Concord gameplay on the PlayStation channel right now, as of today at 10:53, they have 176,601 views, 3,057 likes, nearly 16,000 dislikes. On the other side of the conversation, Astrobot has nearly 400,000 views, nearly 27,000 likes, and 304 dislikes. I think the people have spoken, Korkenstein. Let's continue.
Yeah. It's just so I feel bad because like I do love shooters and it looks great, but if I had to choose Marvel Rivals or another game I'm already playing over Concord's going to get the boot. I like Ballad of Antara. That looked great. I really like some of that stuff. The Infinite Nikki. I mean, they had some cool stuff, but this is all multi-platform stuff, And I mean, who knew Jim Ryan, when he was talking about We Believe in Generations, was talking about the PS3 when he showed Silent Hill. It's just looks so bad, especially when we have Hellblade 2 that just came out. We have the Resident Evil remakes that look absolutely gorgeous. Like there's actual effort being put into remakes to bring them up to that next gen level. And then now you have Silent Hill 2. Like that was your kind of big banger of like, we're bringing Silent Hill 2 back. I mean, it had more hype when it had Kojima, supposedly backing it, and they had all that other stuff that was going on. Now people are seeing this, they're like, it's just, it was a bad showcase. Like, I know I would probably maybe give it a 3, and that's just because of Marvel Rivals and Astrobot. Astrobot I would pay. Yeah, $30, $50. That's probably around the range. 70, unless this is going to be some full-time, like big title. I can't see paying $70. Godspeed if that's your thing. That's cool, But yeah, I would say 30. I would pay 30 to 50, somewhere around that range for it. And I mean, this is also the funny part. People that are hyping up Astrobot 2, or I guess Astrobot 2 is what I'll just, so I'm not confusing them, are also the same ones trashing Banjo Kazooie as a platformer. Like, look at, we're seeing a platformer right now that everybody's loving. Their platformers are still in, and you're telling me now that, oh, Astrobot works, but Banjo Kazooie wouldn't? Like, come on. We have the technology now, and we have more modern gameplay mechanics that people can bring platformers back, and it's showing with Astrobot. So that's why I don't see people why they think maybe Banjo Kazooie might not work, or maybe a Conkers, or some kind of fun kind of platformer style game or hybrid. And you guys are hyping up Astrobot, but I mean, it looks great. I think Fuzzy, I love that Fuzzy brought up that it's a shame that this is the best like tech demo that shows off the DualSense, and it really is. And it sucks that not everybody, like third-party devs, they don't bring this in and use it more for their games. Maybe you get haptic feedback, but that's pretty much it. Other than first-party titles, most devs don't use it, and it's just a shame. But I'm glad Astrobot is coming back. I like it. I'll probably buy it myself. But overall, if I had to grade it, probably a 3. I agree with King. Probably a 3.
I mean, it's a fair criticism. This again, okay, so the show is the show, right? The games are the games. If this is it for Sony, then they're cooked. Sorry. Again, you can keep waiting and waiting and waiting. We saw Xbox get the smoke for that they rightly deserved. We're tired of waiting, Xbox. Well, here we go. We know June 9th is going to be ridiculous, right? Year of dreams for Xbox is what we're hearing. This is not what people were asking for. There were several PlayStation-centric channels that were having meltdowns that were specifically talking about why are we going this free-to-play crap. Now, again, if it's baked into the overall picture, and it's not your main drag, I understand it. Xbox is doing it right. They have a lot of games like Grounded and like Sea of Thieves, and they have Minecraft, and they have Halo Infinite, and they have Forza Horizon. Now, Forza Horizon isn't free to play, but it's still considered a gas game, and they've been updating that game for years, right? They continuously update that game for free, by the way. So what we see again, it's a change in the shift in ideology. How many first-party single-player games are going to be dropped at this show? A shit ton of them, and that's on top of the gas games that they have out and the gas games they're going to release. Sony seems to be floundering. They just don't know who they are or what they're doing. I mean, how many more remakes are we going to play? I don't know. I guess if people keep buying them, they're going to keep remaking them. At what point does even the media be like, hey, enough with the remakes already? Can we get a new game? Can we get something new? Nothing. Look, I want to shift over, and I'm going to go right back to you, Korkenstein, because I want to talk about the Herman Holtz business update. I think that I've always said this about Sony. They are very old school when it comes to their business. They want to sell you a box, and they want to sell you games on that box, and that's what they want to do. And at every chance that they get, they nickel and dime you through $10 upgrades, raising the price of online play from 60 to 80, giving you very few day and date games for a service that is very expensive as compared to what you get in Xbox Game Pass. Putting out hardware that after a year they abandoned. PlayStation VR 2.0 abandoned. Studio that made games for it closed. No pushback from anybody. London Studios, they've only been around 20 years. F them. We don't need them, right? No one says anything. And here we are at this business meeting, and I think that, I don't have a business degree, Korkenstein. Maybe I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But I think I know PC players. They are They're PCMR for a reason. They're arrogant. They're smart. They know what they are capable of doing with the setup that they paid for, right? That is who they are. How are you going to tell the PC gaming community that, hey, you want if you want multiplayer and you want gas games, you got it. And like I said in the opening of the show, it's easy to do that when you have a hit like Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2 is the best thing that Sony did this year and continues to make them a ton of money. It's a phenomenally made game. Maybe it's not for everyone, but it's certainly for me. I loved every second I played it. You're not going to get that every time. They were hoping to get that with Concord. That is an epic fail. Sorry. But then he back ends that with, look, our single player story driven narrative games, those are staying on PlayStation 5. So we'll give you the older stuff and potentially try and entice you to go and buy a PS5 or a PS5 Pro for the sequel. Now just think about this for a second, Korkenstein. God of War Ragnarok is coming out for PC, and the bells and whistles that are going to be available for this game in tow for PC players who have the rig to run all of this stuff is going to be unbelievable. How are you going to ask said player that has this bells and whistles 4090 machine in front of them? They have everything available for them. They're playing God of War at 195 frames per second. It looks amazing. They're on widescreen, to then go buy a PS5 Pro that's only a pinch better than the PS5 to go play on their TV. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm not a business analyst or even a professional, but that sounds kind of dumb. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. I think Tom Warren said it best, where he was like, be right back. I'm gonna go trade in my 4090 PC to get a PS5. Why? Like, it doesn't make any sense. There's so many games that PC players have readily available on Steam at their fingertips. There's absolutely no reason why they should run out to buy a PS5 to play a game they'll be able to play a year later. That will probably look better, run better, have all the updates built into it. Like, why are you going to try and run out, especially when you're having a showcase like this? It doesn't instill a lot of confidence on why I should buy a PS5, especially as a casual gamer. I just can't see that. And it's a strategy that it's plain, like I think Cypher and I were talking about in the chat, is that this is PS3 level Sony arrogance. They thought that they could come out with a console, overprice it ridiculously, not have a great lineup of games, and that somehow people would just be like, sure, I'll buy it. It's Sony, It just doesn't make any sense. And like, you were 100% on the spot, Boom, that they're very old school. That mentality, they're not adapting to what is going on. And yeah, people can give Xbox as much crap as they want about them jumping the gun here a little bit, but you don't become a Xbox is a multi-billion, but Microsoft as a whole, you don't become a $1 trillion company by not getting ahead of the curve. And that's just what Xbox is doing. And I think if Xbox does come out with Steam capabilities on the next Xbox, Sony's cooked. It's just going to get so much worse for them. And if they don't start adapting to where they're going to start doing day and date for all their titles for PC, it's not, I think they're just banking, because nobody holds them accountable. Nobody holds them accountable. And that's the thing. Sony's not seeing pushback for any of this. And they're thinking like, okay, this might work. But if people start holding them accountable, you're going to start getting everybody held Xbox accountable. And look at where we are now. Game Pass, day and date PC. We have an amazing showcase where they bought and they developed a ton of developers now. Everybody held Xbox's feet to the fire, and they're in the best position of their gaming life right now. And unless people start doing it to Sony, you're going to have Herman House up there doing the same exact, song and dance of, well, we're not going to do this. We want to entice players to come to PS5. It's just, it's a ridiculous mindset. That's just, I feel bad for Sony next year. You know, it's just for people that are investing and thinking that this is going to be their generation, it's just looking really bleak. And I hate to be such a Debbie Downer about it. You know, I don't think PlayStation's in any trouble. You know, they could go another 2-3 gens with the money that they have, but it's just, I just don't think this is going to be the year that a lot of people wanted it to be for PlayStation, especially coming off such an amazing gen last year that, you know, Sean Layden set up with so many first party games. It's just sad to see where it's gone, you know. And the thing that sucks is the gamers get hurt by this, you know, and that's the worst part.
Yeah, I mean, look, it is what it is. I think that the one AAA game per year kind of is going to be the standard fare moving forward. They don't have one this year. They definitely are going to have one next year. It's probably going to be Ghost of Tsushima 2 in May. Will be the first one. Now, if you remember, we all thought that was going to be, that was the rumor where it was going to be their first AAA game day and date on PC and on PS5. That, in fact, is not the case anymore, based on what Herman Holtz had to say. I think it's an error in judgment. I think it's closed-minded. I think it is old school to the point of a detriment to your business. Considering, I mean, look how well Ghost of Tsushima 1 is doing on PlayStation. I mean, on PC. It's doing quite well, as a matter of fact. Why wouldn't you want to release that on day and date on PS5 and on PC? Because what you're going to do is you're just going to circle the wagons and you're going to close the circle. And PC players are not, unless they already have a PS5, going out to buy one. They're just not. They'll just wait. And Hiroki Totoki actually said something that contradicts what Herman said in that business meeting during their presentation, when he was saying it's a waste of money to promote something and then months later, up to a year later, promote it again to be on another platform. That doesn't make any sense. That is a waste of money. That's a waste of marketing money. Why not strike while the iron is hot? I have no idea, but then again, I'm also not running the business for Sony. Silent Cypher, let's bring you in on the conversation. But brother, before I get to you, I got to catch up on Super Chats. Been quite a few of them. JJ Saying 117 drops an outstanding $2 Super Chat and says Sony will never get PC gamers to buy a PS5. I absolutely agree. Mo de la Garza drops a very generous $5 Super Chat and says Xbox makes better games for PlayStation than PlayStation. I mean, it's true. It's damn true. Highlander 001 says whoever votes for games at Jeff's VGAs and said Astrobot is game of the year, what the hell are they smoking? I saw the other game last night, better than that. I mean, listen, I'm going to cap for it. I'm a platform dude, and I love Astrobot as a character. I think what they're doing with him is amazing. And they, so much so that it's going to get me to spend $70. If it is $70, I'm buying it. I really am. So thanks so much, Highlander, as always, for the support. Big Poppy Senpai, who's been a channel member for 1 month. That is very kind of you, and thank you for supporting the channel. He says, as someone who has over 100 days in Overwatch, holy crap, dude, that is crazy. He says Concord is DOA. Wow, dude, I thought my 22 days in Halo was something special. Halo Infinite. I'm gonna just hang my head in shame. That 100 days, good for you, brother. That means that you're really good at that game. I suck at Overwatch. Brett Bingham drops a very generous $5, which says, breaking news, Sony has just updated their slogan, mediocre awaits. And you're not wrong. They've been mediocre for quite some time. It's just, no one's, if the media doesn't push back and give them shit for it, they're just going to keep doing what they're doing. Their arrogant behavior is going to continue, and the media is going to keep covering for them, and it's just gross. But we know why. Money. SOEs, right? Or SEOs, I should say. That's what it's all about with these media types. They're just cashing in the checks that Sony's paying them. And someone like IGN, 43% of their ad rev comes from PlayStation. Are you surprised that they're not going to go up against them? I'm not. Balatone, who's becomes a new member. Balatone, thank you so much for jumping back on the train and supporting the channel. We super appreciate the generosity. Silent Cipher, let's talk about it. I think Herman Holtz is wrong, and I think that this is a strategy that is going to blow up in their face. I think it's a strategy that maybe 6 months from now they're going to potentially change their tune. There's going to be a full reverse on the engines. What are your thoughts?
So first off, I think it's one of two things. Maybe it's a little blend of both, but I feel like Herman Holst is either completely just out of touch with what's going on, or there's a really good possibility that he's playing the game just like what Phil and those guys had to do recently, where they're like, yeah, it's only 4 games that are coming to the PS5 ecosystem for now. Like, I kind of feel like there's almost a little bit of double talk. Like, yeah, these things, they're not coming to PC. That's not our focus, blah, 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 for now, ... It's kind of how it feels. So, like I say, I think it's one of two things. He's either completely out of touch with what's going on and he's not looking at the reality of the situation, or he's just saying what he needs to say for now to slowly transition. And I think realistically, it probably goes to the latter, right? Is, again, we saw that PC list from yesterday. If all of your third parties are also not concerned with going to your system exclusive and they're making them on PC as well, it's only a matter of time. Like, if they're showing that they're squeamish about their returns, the writing is on the wall. I don't care if you have 50 million consoles out there or not. The fact is, like, you're going to have a set amount that you're going to make from that player base. And generally it's about 10 to 15% that they end up selling over that user base, which is low, especially if that's the only area where you can get that game, right? So why would you lock that game to that specific system? Why not put it on PC? Why not have it on Xbox? God forbid your game go to the green box. But why wouldn't you have your game available in more places so you could make the money, so you could continue to make your business financially viable? Because that's, at the end of the day, that's what this is about. It's why Microsoft shifted to PC back in 2013-ish. It's the same thing. We saw it then. People threw a fit about it back then. And now here we are, and people are like, no, they'll never do that. Wake up. Look at what's happening in front of you. It's gonna happen. It's just a matter of time. A company is concerned with making back their money. They're not concerned about your feels. They're not concerned about the good, warm fuzzies that you get because it's on your plastic box. They want their money back. And that's, at the end of the day, that is all it is.
I mean, listen, you're not wrong. Someone actually said in the chat that this, I think it was, hold on a second, let me give him credit where credit is due. Serge Estevez says that it's Sony is just a corporation run by people on the board, and they don't care about the games, and that's what's happening. And again, you've seen a little of that with the big money men from Microsoft coming in and doing some things that I'm going to still hold them to the fire for. The closing of these studios was, I think, it was egregious. I'm never gonna stop pressing Microsoft for that. I think that was it's a bad optics mistake. And again, I'm not a money person. I don't have a degree, so fine. But I just think that when you have a game that is like Hi-Fi Rush, for instance, that game not getting a sequel and that studio being closed is money people making the decision, and it's gross. It's disgusting. You know what? I'm just never going to let them off the hook for that. That's just me. Sony seems to be chasing these virtual dollars with some of the choices they've made with these gas games. Remember, they had 12 of them. They dropped it down to 6. They got rid of a few more, and all you have left is Concord, which is going to fail, and Jade Raymond's game, which again, I hadn't played it, but it looks like a Payday ripoff, and I'm sorry, I think that's going to fail as well. So Fuzzy, let's bring you in on the conversation. You said it. They canceled factions. They canceled Twisted Metal. They canceled a military shooter game, i.e., SOCOM. And this is what we're left with. How does Herman Holtz and PlayStation expect that they're going to release a game like Ghost of Tsushima that is going to potentially entice people on a sequel to go buy a PS5? I'm sorry. They are having trouble, folks. Read the room, ladies and gentlemen. They went from 25 million the last quarter, dropped it down to 21, and didn't even hit that. They came close, let's be fair, 20.8 million consoles. They have cut that from now to next quarter being 18. Their own analyst said that they have already hit the peak for the hardware. What does that say about sales for the PS5? It's going to continue to decline. But you know what you're going to see a turnaround is Xbox, because of Game Pass, because of Call of Duty. You're going to see a big turnaround. Sony is not going to entice the PC crowd. You're one of them. Let's talk about it.
Well, I think the biggest problem that Sony has right now is that over half of their active user base is still on PS4. So as far as enticing them to upgrade to a PS5, I think that should have been Sony's biggest focus. And it doesn't seem like they're really firing on that right now.
Yep.
As far as getting the PC crowd to buy a PS5, outside of those of us that already have that, I can't really see a reason why you would go and spend $500 for maybe one game, which in the past, sure, they had, 2 or 3 bangers in a year. But right now, most of those are multi-plats that they have like a timed exclusive or something to that effect. You're not really going to rush out to spend $500 to play that one game now, unlike the past where maybe, having Ghost of Tsushima, God of War, and Spider-Man all within the window of each other. I think that was a different story. But now, 2025, other than Concord, which I'm not going to down on that anymore. I think it's already like kicking a dead horse kind of thing. But I can't imagine where their heads are at. I mean, aside from the economy being what it is, okay, you're a PC player. You're probably going to save up for that next video card or that next CPU. And the next video cards we're hearing the 5090 might be a dual slot. So that might mean you need a new motherboard and a new case. Sure, the PS5 is cheaper at $500, but that PS5 doesn't have games like 6 Days of Fallujah. It doesn't have, CSGO. It doesn't have a lot of the games that PC players play tons of. Like, you're never going to see Escape from Tarkov on a PS5. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. I mean, sure, you'll see Marathon if that actually survives or makes it out. But as far as something like Escape from Tarkov, you're not going to see a PC guy say, "Oh, let me go ahead and get that PS5 to play." I don't know, one of their shooters. No, it's not the case. Now, Stalker 2, although be it that's coming to PC, you might convince that PS4 guy to upgrade to an Xbox to pick up Stalker 2. So right now, with the flow of games that are coming out between now and the end of the year, between the two platforms, I would say Sony's at a loss as far as retaining those PS4 guys and gals within their ecosystem when, COD is put into Game Pass, when, Stalker 2 is in Game Pass, when Avowed drops into Game Pass, Indiana Jones drops into Game Pass. And I think it's going to be an ongoing onslaught just by sheer numbers, the number of studios between the two platforms. And sure, they got studios cooking on stuff. It seems like they've been cooking for like the past 7 years. And a couple of those, tasty desserts got canceled, like Factions, like the Spider-Man game, which, we'll see when Wolverine or if that, what do you call them, Venom game comes out, or which, drops first. I mean, Wolverine's already on PC due to the leaks and stuff, but we won't get into that because that's a whole other story. But yeah, it's a tough thing to pitch to a PC guy to spend $500 on a separate piece of hardware with a whole nother ecosystem where you have to pay online after all these decades of not having to pay ever to be online other than your actual service provider, which, if you're on console, you have to pay your service provider anyway. But why are you paying this monthly fee to play games on the internet when, you're already paying, Verizon or Comcast or whoever type of deal? So it's not going to work. And like I said earlier, I think it's their stall tactic until their first party studios are up to speed as far as being able to do both the PC and console games at the same time, so that way they can release them simultaneously. Because like Hiroki Jitoki pointed out, it is a waste to spend advertising or marketing twice. And I know there's a lot of people like, well, it will cannibalize sales and there's piracy. All right, if you're one of those idiots out there saying piracy is a problem, how does Steam survive if piracy is a problem on PC games? They've been around for 20 years. Is piracy killing Steam? No. Nintendo, hey, there's a lot of piracy, of which most of those people have a Nintendo product. They own the games, and then they pirate it to play it on their PC where it plays best. Sure, Nintendo sues those companies and things like that, but another one pops up the next day. Is Nintendo struggling? Is Nintendo suffering from piracy? Or is it just that they're trying to protect their IP? Sure, they can have lawsuits, but is piracy killing that brand? I don't think so. So try another boogeyman argument as far as that's concerned. And then when it comes to the cannibalization aspect, if you're a PS5 guy or strictly a console guy, unless you have the range of budget to go ahead and also do a PC, I don't think you're going to lose that sale for that PS5 already owner buying the game on PS5. Whether they're going to do the next day spend 1,500 plus or build something or upgrade whatever they may have had in their household to do emails and browse on the internet to play games, I don't think so. I mean, they could, but you're still getting the money because they already have their PS5 and they're still going to buy the game. If they already have a PC, they're still buying the game. Sure, you won't get the monthly, subscription costs out of them, but you'll get the game costs out of them. That's enough. Because if the PC guy has to go and spend the $500, which they're less likely to do, to spend to play the $70 game,
yep,
I don't think that mathematically works in your favor. So it's not going to be cannibalization because they're still selling the game. The ultimate goal is to sell 10 million plus, 20 million plus units of games. Whether it's on PC or PlayStation, I don't think it really matters. Now, if you're worried about selling consoles, well, you already sold, 50 million? They say 60 million. Maybe that's sell through. Maybe that's scalper basements. Maybe that's the used market, whatever. But the software is always going to be your big thing. Sure, the consoles are profitable, but whatever. Your main goal in the expense of making these games is to recoup that cost in making the games by selling the games, not the hardware. So once again, it's not a cannibalization issue because you're still selling the game. It's not a piracy issue because PC has been around for umpteen years and nobody is struggling from, oh, well, my game was pirated. In fact, a lot of devs make things interesting if you do pirate it, like your CD Projekt Reds and a few other devs, where they create these things that purposely ruin the game for you. But it is what it is. But once again, I think Herman Holtz is just using this as a stall tactic because we saw the third parties are coming to PC day and date. Silent Hill 2 is already going to be PC day and date. Until Dawn is already going to be PC day and date. What more do you want? Like I said before, I think Bend Studios is going to be the first one that's day and date, but I'm hearing that might be a gas game. We'll see. Either way you look at it, I think that game or that studio is either on its deathbed or it's back to the salt mines of being a support studio. So whatever game they're working on is going to be PC day and date because they don't have room to fail again, or at least in Sony's eyes. I don't think Days Gone failed, but according to critics, well, it is what it is. But once again, it's coming. And if you were all hyped up what Herman Holtz said the next day you look out and you see everything's on PC except for Astrobot, which is a PS5 Pro pack-in. Yeah, I guess you got your answer.
Yeah, and it's a disappointing one. Crispy, I want to go to you because you have a PC player at home, right? Which is not you, but their traits. Does any of this suggestion of PS5 first for single player story driven narrative games only on PlayStation, holding content back from a potential customer, spending extra money to re-energize the brand coming to PC instead of doing it all at once? Hey, let's take all this money, let's put it into marketing. We're going to market the PC, we're going to market the PS5, we're going to get a bunch of sales. No, they're going to they're going to make the player wait 12 and 18 months, and they're going to have to re-spend extra money to advertise once again that, game A is is coming to PC. Look, the numbers are there. People on PC will buy PlayStation 5 games. Look what's happening with Ghost of Tsushima. It is selling very well. Helldivers 2 selling very well. God of War Ragnarok, it's probably going to sell very well, to be honest with you. Horizon Zero Dawn remake that they're going to announce, I don't know. But what are your thoughts on the potential of holding content from potential customers? I think it's foolhardy considering that they are in a bit of a pickle when it comes to the finances.
I mean, this is where people will interject and be like, "Oh, Xbox is dying," and this and that, and I look at them and I'm like, you do realize Sony's market share is nothing as far as Sony. We're not talking about PlayStation. Sony's market share is kind of deliberate. It is. So actually, let me go back real quick. Recently, I need a new TV. Okay, I need a new TV. Sony's entire selling point when I go into the description, when I am looking at Sony TVs, which were on sale, by the way, was that it is optimized for the PlayStation 5. But what if I don't have one? And I look at them and I say, okay, you think this marketing is great, but it's not. Because there's a lot of people that have their Samsung TVs, LG TVs. I like them. I have played on them. They work well. I go to a Sony TV and the first thing you say is PlayStation 5. And Herman did exactly what the stands want to hear. They want to hear that it is for us. Well, what about all the other people? Excuse me. All I see is exactly what Jim Ryan's been saying for a while. All they care about is how many of what said subset of hardware they will develop and put out there, and then they have to sell said hardware. We're not talking about software. We're talking about hardware. And also, Herman decided to lie to y'all. And he said, oh, PC is not a big deal. Now, you could take that into context or out of context. The point is that all these people decided to run with, oh, we're good. My PlayStation 5 is the most important thing. And then he showed you the latter. And then you sit here and you argue with people like myself who, hey, I've argued with Xbox people, PlayStation, just gamers. That's the way I look at it. And I've said, so think about this. Imagine Gears of War Phoenix Collection coming to PC and PlayStation. Not the new games, the old ones. Developed in UE5. Okay? You develop it in a new engine, which has been proven because regardless of the 4 of 10s, most of them said This is the best looking game I've ever seen.
Yep.
Okay. So you see Hellblade there, and then what do you think Microsoft's going to go towards? Because there are movie entities that use Unreal Engine.
Yep.
All right. So you go and say that. Well, you have the ones that Epic look towards to push to the absolute pinnacle of what it can be. And you do that, and then you see the Phoenix Collection run on UE5 on the PS5, the Xbox, and the PC. And people are going to go ham because there's going to be certain people that are going to be like, you know what? I have a PS5. I'm going to tell you right now, this game looks stupid. Okay? And we're not talking about gameplay because we know the gameplay is already there. We already know that. We already know the multiplayer is already there. This is the problem that PlayStation has. They go all multiplayer or all single player, and that's all they do. And while we're sitting here like, why can't you have both in one single game? We've had this for many, many, many years. And I'm going to tell you right now, that kid up there don't give a crap about single player games. And the only reason why he would is because his friends would. But he don't play on PlayStation. He plays on PC. And what more games come to PC? Microsoft games, Xbox games, whatever you want to call them. Okay? And he goes and he boots up the Xbox because it's cheaper to do so because he cares about that stuff. And he's 17 years old. Okay? I'm 36. Hello. All right. That's a long time. I'm almost 20 years older than him. All right. But he thinks the same way, not because of my influence, because I barely talk to him, to be honest with you, because he's in his own world. But the fact is that he doesn't care. He knows the value of what he's playing. He understands that some of his friends might not be able to, but Game Pass is a magical thing. Yes. And that's where I've gotten to these arguments with people. Look, if they came out with 1, 2, and 3 of Gears on PlayStation, it would gravitate people to try to end the story or see where it's going because they know that it's developed in a higher resolution and everything else already and has been on PC, regardless if they play on PC or not. And that's like where I get a little like pissed off. I'm like, dude, like we're changing. PlayStation's trying to change. It's just y'all don't agree with it. And we've done that. We've already been through that. We've already been through that for like 5-6 years now. We've already been trying to accept what Xbox does. Y'all are just not seeing it. Like they keep making money, 20 million players on Fallout 76. Like what are we talking about here? That's a multi-plat, right? I mean, like, you know, like let's be honest here. Like I'm not saying like release Gear 6 on PlayStation. What I'm saying is release the old games to get people enticed to possibly buy into the ecosystem or buy into Game Pass or buy it on PC. That's the whole point. And I feel like PlayStation dropped the ball this year, especially after the state of play, and said, look, we are doing exactly what I've seen Xbox do 4 years ago.
And they got dumped on for it.
Well, and that's the point. Xbox got the same treatment. Did they not? They did.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. When they dropped the ball, like I said, I know I gave one Xbox show a 7. Okay. Because I was like, nah, this is not for me. But at the same time, they have continued to go about this. And PlayStation's only doing it now. That's
they're
6
always
years ago.
3 or 4 years. Yeah, it's crazy how far behind that they really are. Like they're always 3 to 4
it's
years behind.
sad because, like, dude, when we hear that they cancel games, like, dude, a Spider-Man multiplayer, I'm down for that.
Freaking dope, dude.
A Twisted Metal gas game, I'm down for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it hurts me because I was a PlayStation gamer. I had PlayStation 1 and 2 for like 12 plus years. I don't understand where they've gone, and they continue to prove me right now because I continue to say, what are you doing? Like, you have Twisted Metal, the TV show, which I thought was great, and then you go and you just throw it to the curb. And I'm like, well, but why? You know what I mean?
And they have a season 2 releasing soon, right? So
which is going to be what we want as gamers, because that's what like it's going to be like a battle royale at some point. You know what I mean? And it's going to be crazy, like the end of the show. You know what I mean? Like, those are things that I look at and I'm like, you have something. Why are you squandering it? It hurts me as a gamer that wants to, be able to watch a TV show and feel those same feels. And you just don't have it. And it's like, at the same time, like, you see like people like, oh, what are they going to do with Fallout? Well, if they try to push out a Fallout 5 or whatever they do, that's a smart thing to do at this point. At least have it in the eco. Like, we've already been hearing about it. Like, they're thinking about it now. Like, we're good with that. Like, if PlayStation doesn't talk enough, at least in the positive aspect, and say, hey, like, we have something here, let's go with it. Instead, they just like throw it to the curb, and it's like, oh, it's just the PlayStation TV studios or the PlayStation movie studios, and that's all they care about. It doesn't make any sense. We're a multimedia, like we're in online all the time. It's a multimedia aspect. Like, you could have conversations, you can get hyped up for certain things, and I feel like they just will try to squander any hypeness at this point. And it's exactly what I felt at some points with Xbox. So I don't know what to tell you. If you're a diehard PlayStation fan, I'm sorry, because I've seen this before. And I just stayed because I'm a Gears fan. And Gears is only on PC and Xbox. That's it. So now is that out of game? Because, everybody, is it an exclusive? Is it not? I really don't care. I just want Gears to live. And I hope, like, some of these IPs, like, look at Astrobot. Like, seriously, like, my girl would love that. You know what I mean? Like, just embrace the fact that we have variety at this point.
Yep.
And understand that these companies don't care about your feelings. And that includes Xbox as well. They don't care about our feelings. You know what I mean? So let's be real and just say, look, if we get variety, if we get a subset of greatness within, a logical amount of money, we're going to go for it. Like that Hypercharge game that just came out today. I mean, that's like nostalgia in my brain. You know what I mean? I'm about to buy that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm about to buy that because it has something, a part of me that doesn't necessarily needs to be a part of you. You don't understand the characters and all these little nuances that they did in this game, but that's besides the point. Just look at what they showed you, and you got remakes. You got a game that looks like a ripoff once again, like Foam Stars, okay? And you got a lot of things, and then you had a platformer. And you had a platformer that looked really good, which we haven't had a lot of really good-looking platformers.
No.
You know what I mean? So if I was going to buy a PlayStation 5, it would be so my girl could play Astrobot. Wouldn't be for me. I've played platformers my whole life. I'm done. Okay? I have my multiplayer. Hey, it could feel like a Souls game types at times. Like, I play those types of games that are multiplayer that I'm playing against somebody else who is just as good, if not better than me. That's the way I play games. And you know, we have had this, but then we can go back to the single player if that's the game we just purchased. And that's something that Sony needs to figure out.
And I don't know if they're going to. I think it's going to be a little too late. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for today's show. We've covered the topics in full. Everyone had amazing opinions. Let me get the last super chats, and we'll get everyone out of here a little bit earlier today. I got something to do at 12, so I'm just gonna shut down the show just a few minutes earlier than normal. Risk it for the biscuit. Generous friend of the program drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Only so much good will Sony ride off of these below par SOPs. With the games coming to PC is their lifeline, and they will need it." Shout out to the panel. Yeah, shout out to you, Risk It. Appreciate it. And yeah, they you would think that they would fully embrace the potential of guaranteed money from PC, and it looks like they're half towing it in, you know, instead of jumping into the pool all the way. Makes no sense. JJ saying 117 drops an additional very generous $2 super chat and says, League of Legends just did a promo to buy a $500 skin. Well, I guess if you have that kind of money, good on you. They would not get that from me. That's ridiculous. But listen, we had over 1,200 live viewers, 470 from Twitter, which is awesome. And of course, the rest from YouTube. If you're finding the channel for the first time, I do ask that you consider subscribing to the channel. We are on the hunt for 15,000 subscribers, and we are almost halfway there. We're like almost at 14.5, and we'd appreciate any help nudging us closer to the 15K goal. That would be greatly appreciated. A big thank you to all of the very generous super chats, the new channel members, and the channel members that continue to support the channel behind the scenes. We are very grateful for the support. Let's get everyone out of here. Korkenstein, let's sell your brand, kind sir. You've recently joined Breakfast with Boom. We're happy to have you every week, but we also want to sell your brand. Where could people subscribe to your YouTube channel, check out your weekly shows, and more importantly, find you, kind sir, on social media?
Yeah, so you guys can find me on Twitter at the Korkenstein or Stein. I go by both. But yeah, you can find me always there. And then later today, I will be streaming Hypercharge actually on the Xbox Talks channel. I've been luckily very graciously given a review code, so I've been playing it for the past week now. It's an absolute fun. But yeah, join me there later today, probably in about 2 or 3 hours. I'll be streaming on that. And then next week, we will have a COD and MRE kind of discussion for Game Pass Gumbo, where we talk about games and the foods that are associated with them. So we'll be talking about COD, and then I think me and a couple of the other guys, we're going to eat MREs live on the show. So it should be a good time.
Well, you're not going to like that because MREs are gross. But you know what? If you are dying and that's all you have, well, you're going to eat it. So there you go. Well, thank you so much for Korkenstein for joining us and becoming a regular panel member here. We love the opinions and the hot takes.
Thank you.
And obviously, I'm going to be seeing you in LA next week because I'm flying out on Thursday. It'd be great to meet in person. Thank you so much for being here as always. Silent Cypher, let's sell the brand of the Xbox International podcast, where you get to see, well, crazy Louis do crazy things. And if it's not the scary picture that's been behind him that I think has possessed part of his household, he is dressing like Pyramid Head with a cardboard box. It is hilarious and also disturbing. Sell your brand, brother. Where can people subscribe to that YouTube channel? And more importantly, follow you on social media?
Well, so Boom, thank you so much for having me. We're getting ready to pull a prank on Louis. He's not going to hear this because I know when he listens to things, he zones out and just goes into his own space. So I trust that I can say this, and everyone gets to be involved in this fun. But we're going to work with his wife to move that painting one of these times when he's doing one of his streams or one of his morning shows.
Good.
Just to start messing with him, like put it back on the couch or like move it around somewhere in the room just to start messing with him.
And he says it's always watching him, which is very creepy. If you look at it, it's always watching you. It's very disturbing. I gotta be
is.
honest.
But yeah, so like you said, you can find me on Wednesdays at Xbox International Podcast, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We share the air with Mr. Boomstick's show that evening. Whether you catch us then or you catch us later, I don't care. As long as you're enjoying the content, that's all that matters. Besides that, you find me here every other Friday, hanging out with these awesome gentlemen. You find me on Twitter and social media being an ass goblin, and hopefully besides that, you find me playing some games this weekend. Fingers crossed. But chat, you guys rocked. It was great hanging out with you guys. Corkenstein, Fuzzy, Boom, Crispy. Hopefully we'll get to play some games soon. Hopefully you guys are up for some Hypercharge. I played a bunch of that last night, and it's freaking awesome.
Yeah,
So,
I bought that game the minute it was up for pre-order. I used to please support that dev. That dev,
yes.
he's awesome. He's always on the socials, and he's very emotional. As you know what, you appreciate his transparency. Love the work that game is every kid's dream come true, especially if, like me, if you grew up like with GI Joes. Oh my God, that game just screams. It's for you. Check it out. Yeah, absolutely. So definitely we got to play some multiplayer there. Silent, thank you for being here. Fuzzy Belvedere, let's sell your brand. Where can people check out the best place for anything and everything in the racing genre, and more importantly, find you on social media?
As always, greatly appreciate you having me on here. Thanks for to everybody in the chat for joining us. Always a pleasure being on here with this panel. And for those that want to hear my rambles and rants, or my version of crispy truth on social media, just follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me later on tonight at Xbox Ultimate Podcast, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fun Speculations channel. Shop Podcast, I think we're having a time change. It'll be at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on PTK Blam's channel on Saturday. And then we're taking a little bit of a break for Pixelated Echoes for a couple of weekends, primarily because the co-host is getting married and going on his honeymoon. So shout out to him and his wife, his new wife, and we'll be returning. I believe that'll be like mid-June. So look for Pixelated Echoes mid-June, and then hope to see everybody right back here on this channel for Xbox Lunch Break Special at 12 noon Monday afternoon. Hope to see you there. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, brother. Super appreciate you being here. Shout out to 3-Bit and the missus. Congratulations on the wedding. That is pretty freaking awesome. Great pair of people. Happy to see it. Crispy Bomb, let's sell your brand, brother. Where can people find you on social media to potentially strike up a conversation, and what else you got going on?
Well, I mean, Fuzzy, you have a less controversial a crispy truth take, so I appreciate that. At Crispy Bomb on X, Crispy Bomb 28 Xbox Live. You can find me back here on Breakfast with Boom Fridays 10 a.m. And also, you just never know where I'll show up. We'll see you then.
Absolutely, brother. Big thank you again. We had over 1,200 people watching live. That is a really big deal. Hopefully, you enjoyed the show and the conversation enough to hit the like button. And, well, if you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing. Enjoy your weekend. Game on whatever console that makes you happy. And, of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully one day, folks, it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. He would say, Craig, treat others. You want to be treated, and also it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care of everyone, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.